And welcome back to another edition of the Pitch Putt and Puff podcast. My name is Roger, aka RGB. Appreciate everybody tuning in here tonight. Before we get rolling, just going to give a shout out to a few sponsors real quick. First, we're going to shout out my man Marty over at Trouble Off the Tee. Make sure you go check him out. Trouble Off the Tee's got a great sale going on right now, 50% off site wide. Got a new line of hats with the Zin hat. So go check him out over there, as well as check out the book available on Spotify and Audible. Trouble Off the Tee, authors Marty Midian, narrated by Jake Adams. Awesome listen. Go check that out. TroubleOffTheTee.com. Also, go check out 420 Bliss, located at 740 Hoosick Road in Troy, right up in the Walmart Plaza. Stop in there, check them out. Everything you're looking for: flour, pre-rolls, edibles, tinctures, vapes, you name it, they got it. And then while you're in there, make sure you check out some Jaunty products. They got the gummies, the cartridges, bunch of different flavors in the cartridges. A bunch of new lines just dropped, so make sure you guys go and check them out. As well as 52 Sundays. Make sure you guys go support them, the official sponsors of the Legends Golf Club, as well as big supporters of the Pitch Putt and Puff. Legends Golf Club, 52sundays.co. Use promo code LGC15 at checkout. Tonight we're going to be talking to the owners of Tas-Tees out of the Texas area. So we're going to have them on here. We're going to take a quick break and we'll get rolling with Jason. And welcome back to the Pitch Putt and Puff podcast. My name is Roger, aka RGB. Appreciate everybody tuning in and joining me today. We got Jason, the owner of Tas-Tees. What's up, Jason?
Hey, what's going on, man? Appreciate you guys having me. This is great.
No, not much, man. Appreciate you joining us. Just why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into golf.
It was kind of a windy road to get to golf in general. Kind of grew up overseas. My dad was military, so we grew up Italy, Germany, England, Japan for a little while. I actually wasn't in the United States until I was a senior in high school. Oh. So it was probably 6, 7 years old. My dad was hitting balls at the military base there in Germany, and he kind of took me to go do that. Of course, it was a bit boring. You're hitting driving range balls. I couldn't hit for nothing. You're hitting them all over the place or barely making contact. And it's like I couldn't understand why somebody would like this game. Kind of fast forward, I go to golf with them every now and then, but not good at all. Never any focus. And then we get to 1995. We're stationed in England, about 60 miles north of London. And he asked me if I wanted to go to a golf event. And I was like, sure. I've never seen professional golf. That would be awesome. And we ended up going to the 1995 British Open when John Daly won it. And it was like, golf was not cool up until that specific day. I can pinpoint exactly when golf got cool to Jason, and that was exactly the day. The guy I was there, man, with the windbreaker and Konstantin Aroka making the putt. I remember every shot. We were literally the only American family cheering for this guy that was like, totally, the crowd did not like him. He's throwing cigarette butts everywhere. He's got Diet Coke cans everywhere. People are jeering in the crowd at him and stuff. It was great. I liked golf after that. Like I was hooked. Of course, Tiger came on directly after that, and the whole world took off. But even getting into it as a young man, 13, 14 years old, I would always chew on my golf tees. It was just a habit that I developed. I probably saw a golfer do that at some point or something, thought it was cool. Of course, my dad's going out with a group of guys that smoking cigars or smoking whatever, and they're out there doing their thing, and I couldn't participate in that, being the son, being the ball caddy and stuff. Go find my ball in the woods. But so I would come home with this tea in my mouth, and my mom showed me how to make flavored golf teas out of that wooden golf tea that I had in my mouth. Like you would make them just like you would a wooden toothpick, flavored wooden toothpick. You you soak them in flavor overnight or a couple days, and the wood kind of absorbs that flavor. So I was doing that as a young man, probably 14, 15, 16 years old. Of course, I didn't have a cool name for it, or obviously a cool slogan or anything like that yet. But kind of, I put that into a notebook that my mom had was always telling me if I heard a funny joke or if I got a good idea, go write it in this composition book. So kind of fast forward from that to 20 years later, I'm a graduate from UT. I'm sitting in a cubicle all day making trades for people that I've never seen, making good money, but at the same time, just kind of, this isn't the life. I was just dreaming about golf all the time. Just when can I get out of this office so I can go over and start playing golf right now? And I could see that the higher ups were into golf, but they weren't letting me kind of be a part of that ring. And I was just like, I just got to do something on my own. I remember calling my mom specifically and specific call for her and just saying, this is just kind of a dead end life. I don't see how me working for somebody isn't, a form of slavery if I do this for 20, 25, 30 years of my life. Like, how is this not, obviously they're paying me, but it just feels like I'm underpaid, or, you never your worth. Right.
Right.
And she goes, you need to look at that composition book. I had you write down all those ideas. I bet you got some idea in there. And, the next day I'm flipping through this, this 25-year-old composition book in my hands. And page 3 said flavored golf tees. And I went, holy crap. I just saw a product that was at Dick's Sporting Goods that was a flavored mouth guard.
Yeah.
So they were already had the technology out there that they were flavoring plastic material, obviously safe enough for kids or whoever to use it as a mouthpiece for wrestling or football or any of those activities. So I got a hold of one of those scientists. Took about 18 months. Took a lot of money and a little bit of incentive to lure him away to actually formulate the first flavored golf tees. But that happened in 2016. So I actually had prototypes to what would be tasty. Probably about 2018 is where I tell people I actually started the company. It was actually founded in 2017. It's a LLC. It's called Tas-Tees, spelled out. The brand itself is TAS-TEE. So it's that.com is the website. But I always joke about this, but I came up with the idea for the flavored golf tee. Everybody after that has come up with ways that I can make money on it. And it's so funny that, like, I didn't think of this as a lucrative thing at all. It was going to be something I did on the periphery and, kind of hand out to my friends as we played and stuff like that. And 2018, one of my good buddies says, you need to start a Shopify account or a website that people can buy this stuff. And it's funny looking back on, I actually had a package over here recently, but it was a 3x4 clear Ziploc bag with a Vistaprint sticker on it that said tasty. We sold them like that for about 2 years. And if any of your audience is out there and bottom at that point, we owe you a new pack of tasties. Hit me up. But we've come a long way since that venture. But kind of fast forwarding through 2020, the whole world turned to golf. So we got a lot of periphery stuff from that. A lot of activations with social media influencers, the Bob Does Sport, Fat Perez, some of these guys that have tried our product that are just blown away by how we're able to do it. It's kind of a nuanced science, and it's not something I'll pretend to know. I have a team of 4 guys in lab coats that kind of do all the important stuff for Tasty. While I came up with the idea, we're constantly working on formulations for new flavors and things like that. So right now we're at cinnamon and wintergreen were my first 2. Those are still on the menu, if you will, at tasty.com. But since then, every August, we have our Tasty community vote on the next flavor that they want. So starting in 2022, they picked, what was that one? Lime. So we had lime flavored golf tee. Last year, or 2023, it was mixed berry. And then this following year, it was peppermint. And each one of those has become the most popular flavor the next year. So it's
that's cool.
You really can't miss when your audience is literally telling you what to make,
Right.
So,
when you're keeping them involved too. That's really
exactly.
Cool.
And to be honest, it's a pretty cool thing that our scientists can kind of take those, take whatever the top flavor is voted on. This year they voted on dill pickle, so it'll be a totally different flavor. There's no sweet involved in dill pickle. So we're going to go do like a salty, palate on it, and there's some prototypes and samples that I've tried so far that are just absolutely crazy. Some of this stuff will blow your mind. The mixed berry is actually they're all good, but like the mixed berry one is one of our latest ones. And when it hits people's face, you can just see the difference, like, holy crap. And that's kind of where this dill pickle is going to land too. I'm excited about it. We're probably about 8 weeks out from debuting that one.
Nice. So I got a couple, run this back a little bit. So your mother taught you how to flavor the teas back when you were a kid. Oh, I think I lost them. Yeah. So to recap a little bit of that real quick. So you said your mother taught you how to flavor the golf tees. How did you even do such a thing? I wouldn't even think to do such a thing. How did you even she just popped it up? Why didn't you just flavor those one day?
I mean, I'm coming home every day from the golf course, either with my dad or hitting balls or something, and just have that tea in my mouth. And she was constantly for a week. I can remember her knocking it out of my face, like, "Don't do that. Whatever you're chewing on is not good for you." And Like I've said that in one of my posts recently that mom was right. Mom was right. The stuff that's on a golf tee, if it's got ink on it, if it's got paint,
Mm-hmm.
if it's an inferior plastic, which almost every golf tee is, it's a byproduct plastic. You shouldn't be chewing on it. You're going to get all
Right.
kind of leaching and BPA's and stuff like that from it. And my mom wasn't thinking about that. She just thought it was a gross habit that I'd picked up from these guys. But
Right.
she said, if you really want to chew on something, we can make those flavored by flavoring them like you would a wooden toothpick. You put them in a jar. I think it was like a dill pickle jar, like an olive jar or something we were using back in the day, obviously cleaned out. But
Mm-hmm.
you put the wooden teas in there. We put probably 20 of them at a time and then fill it with about an inch worth of flavor. Either back then it was just mint or cinnamon.
Yeah.
That ended up being my two prototypes when I had the plastic version, just because I kind of knew what a wooden flavored golf tee would taste like if we were to go that route in creating the product.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like wood was the way to go. They splinter, they're
Right.
porous. They don't really act well as a golf tee once it's kind of chewed on. So that was a route we didn't go down. And then, like I was saying, with the plastic mouth guard, that just kind of gave me the epiphany that they're flavoring plastic. They do all kind of stuff now for. They flavor baby pacifiers with vanilla so that you
Yeah.
can have that soothing taste. They do, like I said, the flavored mouth guards. They do flavored soda straws and drinking cups. So
Mm-hmm.
we're just one of those periphery things. It was actually really funny when I hit up my scientist to make these flavored golf tees. He must have asked me 6 times, like, "Are you serious? Like, what?"
Yeah. Right.
It's like, are there really people that are going to chew on golf tees? And I was like, man, I do. I can't tell you if there's an audience for it, but there's only one way to find out,
Yeah. You see a lot of people doing it. Like I remember even like playing football, like just the back end of my football career. There's like kind of when the flavored mouth guards came
Mouth
out. But
guards.
like before that, we used to take like bubble gum and like chew on
Right.
bubble gum and jam it in there for the
Yeah, lace them
flavor.
up or something with it. Right, right,
Yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
I mean, people like Steph Curry have done a lot for my brand, even unknowingly, because he's always chewing on that mouth guard because it's a flavored mouth guard.
Right.
So, like people will say, like, who's chewing on golf tees? And I was like, well, first of all, I think there's a contingency of golfers that do chew on golf tees, either for substitute for smoking or dipping or
Right.
something like that on the course, or just an oral fixation, something else to concentrate on. I think there's enough of us that would be a business. But my big argument as a business owner is they've never been flavored before. So that,
Right.
of course they wouldn't go in your mouth. They're not good to go in your mouth, And what Tasty's done is we've literally, I mean, it's kind of crazy the amount of science we've put behind a golf tee. But it's flavor infused dental graded plastic. So we get our dental graded plastic from here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
We make these right here in Texas. So right here in North Texas in Arlington. But we're getting that dental graded plastic and then we're infusing it completely with flavor. So as you're chewing our golf tee, no matter how much you gnarl it up, and we've had several celebrities just turn it to oblivion by
Yeah.
chewing it up so much that they couldn't even use it like a golf tee. But the fact is, no matter how much you chew into our golf tees, you're going to still continue to taste flavor. So, I mean, one of my cases that I've done just for myself is I end up chewing on these tees and kind of putting them in my console or putting them in my door or something like that in my car as I'm getting to the golf course. Well, one
Mm-hmm.
time I went on a golf trip and came back 2 or 3 days later, picked up the tea that was in the console and put it in my mouth, and it still had flavor. So like,
That's cool.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's a crazy technology. We're way beyond. I always tell people we're 25 years ahead of our time. So it's just kind of like catching the golf audience up to the fact that you can chew on golf tees, especially before it goes in the ground.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can't be held responsible for whatever golf courses are using to fertilize or pesticides all over their golf course. So once the tasty is in the ground, it is a golf tee. You do
Right.
not want to put that back in your mouth. Otherwise, you're literally transferring whatever's on the ground back into your mouth. We
Right.
don't condone that at all.
Right.
And on every package, on every advertisement we do, and even on this one, I'll take the time to say, chew on tasty before it goes in the ground. You can
Yeah.
taste the tasty before it goes in the ground. But yeah, we don't want any liability for whatever golf courses they're putting on their golf on their
No
on their
doubt.
golf.
No,
But,
absolutely not. But it's
right.
crazy though. Like, how did you even like link up with the scientists to get involved to something
That
like that?
was
Like
it
that.
was about a year and a half worth of so I found out the company, if we're really inside politics here, but the company that developed the first flavored mouth guard was a company called Mogo Sports. So I reached out to Mogo Sports. I think there was 5 or 8 scientists on their formulation team, and I started to reach out to them individually as I started to learn their names, because these people were not easy to find. They're very obscure, kind of behind the scenes for Mogo,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them were doing other ventures like the flavored pacifiers. So I was able to kind of catch them in a different industry, but the same person that was able to formulate it, the same scientists.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter of connecting with them and kind of them seeing my vision of what Tasty could be. And we're not anywhere where we need to, where we want to be at this point, but at the same time, to think where we've come from literally a nothing idea to flavoring golf teas in dill pickle form coming up soon.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. Even to be on a podcast like yours, or to be able to talk about flavored golf teas is. If you would have told me that in my corporate job, in a cubicle 10 years ago, it's like,
No doubt.
that's
Yeah.
pretty crazy, man. That's pretty crazy. So how do
It's,
you do it? You have to dream first, and then you have to follow the steps to achieve that dream. But
you got to go after it. You got
you
to
got to
go
go
after
after
it.
it.
You
Exactly.
can't sit back and wait for it to be handed to you. That's
No,
for sure.
no.
That's a cool thing. And now you mentioned you've done Bob Does Sports and Fat Perez and those guys. Who else have you dealt with celebrity wise?
We were out at Desert Classic with Good this
Okay.
year. Yeah, so
Nice.
they're more of a local group for us. They're here in DFW.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we've done a lot for DFW golf affiliations and social media influencers. Some that you would know is like PGA Memes.
Okay. Yeah.
He's right here in Dallas. Travis is a good buddy of mine, and we've done several activations with him. We've got one coming up in November as well. That's a Masters giveaway. So be following PGA Memes and Tasty's account for kind of insight as to how to get some Masters tickets.
Oh,
But
wow,
that should be
nice.
coming up here pretty shortly. Great guy, man. He's obviously he does a lot with golf and live golf and PGA Tour golf. We don't really align ourselves with one tour or the other as far as Tasty.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one that I love the most, I would say the Corn Ferry Tour is where that's where my guys are.
Right.
Because the Veritex Bank Championship is right here in our backyard. We've done some promotion of our products over there over the years. This year, I think we're going to reach out to Richie, the head of that tournament, and be a full sponsor there. But
Nice.
it's right here. It's literally 5 minutes down the road. We've got a Corn Ferry event, the Veritex Bank Championship, that happens at Texas Rangers Golf Course. It's a golf course that I play all the time and I volunteer at. So it's a golf course that's near and dear to me. And for the last 4 years that we've had that golf tournament, the Veritex Bank Championship, I've been the director of player registration. So literally every golfer, 156 of these, I say kids, but they could be any age, but
Right.
they all have to come to me to register for the tournament. So over the years, I've developed some really good relationships with some of those guys, and to see them ascend. We just had Noah Goodwin,
Mm-hmm.
just get up to the he was number 30 to get up to the PGA Tour. This is somebody I've seen grind here locally. Went to SMU for a while. I've
Okay.
seen him grind locally, and to be able to watch him ascend, him and a really good friend of mine, Taylor Dixon, and his caddy, they finished 4th or 5th, I think, this year in the Corn Ferry. He's a little bit older guy too, so he's been grinding on that Corn Ferry Tour for several years, and he just ascended to the PGA Tour. But
Nice.
that's what I find compelling about golf. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean everybody else needs to as well. But I really love those stories of just like, the guys that are kind of behind the scenes, the Scotty Schefflers and JT and all the guys that you're seeing on the big tour, the Will Zalatoris's of the world. All those guys were on this Corn Ferry Tour before that. So you're
Mm-hmm.
able to see this talent for pennies on the dollar, get close to them, really learn their games and their strengths and weaknesses. A lot of them, I say a lot of them, several of them have kind of the mental block and not necessarily the physical ability block. And
Right.
it's interesting to see them get over those hurdles. I really
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the college, basically not college. It's not, obviously not college, but like the minor leagues, like the NFL kind of thing. Like
Right.
I'm almost the same way. Like I rather watch like the guys develop and come up and see them put the effort into it and like really develop their games like a college athlete opposed to like
Right.
the pros.
Right.
Because a lot of times once the pros, a little bit different in golf, but like once the pros get there, they get that money, they get comfortable, and they're not putting that
Sure,
effort
sure.
in
Who
anymore.
wouldn't? I mean, no kidding. Who wouldn't?
Right.
Like
Absolutely. Sure.
especially the way the PGA Tour was built up, and I think they're going to make some changes. It sounds like over the next few years, but I just think it's too swollen at the top. There's so many of these Corn Ferry guys that could play on that tour tomorrow.
Right.
They just haven't had that breakthrough, even for Taylor himself, I think he finished 31st or 32nd last year. So I mean, these guys are just barely almost on the precipice of making it, and some of them never do. They never actually take that next step. Some of
Right.
them go back and forth. You had a Harry Higgs this year that's he's been on the Corn Ferry Tour. He got his way to the PGA Tour. He fell off the tour, back to the Corn Ferry. This last year, he's earned his card again.
Right.
So I mean, tell me that guy doesn't love golf and
Yeah. Right. Just
like,
the grind, the straight
right,
up
exactly. You
grind.
got to appreciate that kind of grinder mentality.
Hmm.
It's honestly really inspiring to somebody like me who's doing a lot of this stuff solo, especially up till this last year where I started to hire some people to do some of the content and things like that for Tasty. But it's really inspiring to see that daily grind that these guys put in, even though it's outside looking in, it's like these guys play golf. Like what kind of a grind could it be? But
Right.
those of us that play the game know how difficult that path is, and
Oh yeah.
certainly don't know how it would be to get from Corn Ferry to PGA. But I can appreciate that ascension for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, do you see yourself taking the company outside of the golf tee range with anything different? Maybe like the flavored mouth guards, or I don't know,
Sure, sure.
anything you can do with it?
I mean, I can't believe we've made this many flavors with Tasty. I mean, I really thought the cinnamon and wintergreen would kind of peak out, and the community. I didn't even know there would be a community that would be supporting us like they have. But there's some tea chewers out there, guys. We appreciate you. But for Tasty, we're just barely getting outside of Texas. I mean, no kidding. Even your podcast, I think, is one of the first ones that I've done that's outside of Texas or North Texas, to be honest. So
Okay.
the world doesn't even know about us in golf yet. And while I wouldn't put out any ideas that somebody had for a flavored baby pacifier or something like that, I certainly know the people that do those kind of things. But our focus at Tasty is making the best golf tea right here in the United States. We make all of our products in the United States, and then making them safe for the tea chewers of the golf world to enjoy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And keep the flavors coming. You got to
Uh,
keep mixing it up.
Yeah, I
Keep
think we're
mixing
gonna
it
have to
up.
do more than one a year. I've gotten some interest now from local barbecue companies that want to help sponsor a barbecue flavored one. It's
Huh?
just it's sky's the limit, man. We're gonna see where this thing takes us.
That'd be pretty cool, especially down there in Texas. Nothing like Texas
Uh,
barbecue, man.
we're not,
So
yeah, yeah. And I forget
yeah.
what the East Coast said, but they've got some kind of sauce on there, as I noticed. Somebody said it. But yeah, everywhere kind of has their,
Oh yeah.
tahin is a big flavor, tajin or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You got chorizo, like kind of our local Hispanic Latin flavor to it. But
Okay.
like I
Yeah.
said, sky's the limit. We don't put any parameters on our voting, so as you can imagine, you get some pretty wild stuff on there. We've
Yeah.
had vodka as one of the flavors one year. It's like, what the heck does that taste like? But
Oh
if
man.
if if it's in the top three, we have to consider making it. So it's like, a couple years ago, it was in the top three. John Daly's recommendation, actually.
No kidding. That's funny.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good one.
I won't. I
Yeah.
won't. I won't say the other flavor that he recommended. But it had to do with females.
Yeah. I knew exactly once you said it. Once you
Yeah,
said it.
yeah. John Daly only thinks about those two things, man. But yeah,
Yep.
we
No
appreciate
doubt
his
about it.
we appreciate his contribution to Tasty, which was in 1995. I saw that guy make golf cool, and
Yep.
it was really neat to kind of tell him that. He was here at the we sponsored a invited event last year. Club Corp became invited, changed their name a couple years ago, so it's Club Corp event, an invited event over here in Las Colinas Country Club that we were official sponsors for, right there at the entrance. Did some good sales, but talked to the people like Boo Weekly and
Okay.
like John Daly, getting some of those activations, just some of those posts and stuff out with those guys was great. And just having them try the product, of course, both of them blown away. Boo almost needed subtitles underneath his reaction. You can barely understand Boo, but just great people, man. And honestly, that's why I wanted to be in the golf world. I didn't know that Tasty was going to be my avenue to kind of sustain in the golf world, but I knew golf was where I wanted to be. It's just to me, it's the greatest people. It's the greatest camaraderie. Whether it's the group with your friends, like you were describing that you do with your buds, or
Hmm.
every now and then, I'll be able to play on a Tuesday or Wednesday where I can pop out to a local course and play with three total strangers,
Yeah.
and really love that aspect of golf too. But yeah, I just fell in love with the game probably around that 14, 15-year-old time frame. Was never good enough to be on on a college team or anything like that by any means, but certainly love the game.
Yeah, it's one of those. I always say this. It's one of those things that brings people from all different walks of life together.
Right.
Just hitting a
Right.
ball around, playing
Yeah.
fetch. You're basically playing fetch by yourself. You're hitting a
Yeah,
ball and
yeah,
going to
yeah.
base.
Otherwise, you're playing by yourself, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a cool
So,
thing too. Like we had moved, when we were in Germany and Japan, and then we were in Hawaii for a little bit. But I would go to the golf course and kind of become friends with the people that were golfing. So a lot of the times they were the airmen, or they were kind of an older group than what my friends were. The guys that I played soccer with on the soccer team or hang out with after school was a different group than the guys that I palled around with. So a lot of times I'm taking jokes from these adult, quote unquote, adult 20, 22-year-old airmen and taking them back to my 14, 15-year-old friends and just murdering with them. So,
yeah.
so I look like a real hero for being involved with golf because I thought, I was one of the guys at that point, and
Right.
it was great.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, Jason, I'd like to wrap up with 3 questions, man.
Sure.
3 questions. Starting off with this one. What's your favorite club in your bag?
Favorite club's got to be the putter.
Okay.
Gotta be the putter. That's the game ender for me, man. I've won a couple grips on that putter, so we got to go with that one.
Yeah, mine's my 7-iron. Was my 7-iron, but it's slowly starting to turn into my putter. I've been extremely consistent all year with my putter. I actually was just looking at it today, though. I gotta regrip that bad boy. It's getting pretty beat up. Lot of rounds this year. I'm over. I was thinking about it today. I played like 5, basically average about 5 days a week since April 1st.
Wow.
So.
And where are you at? You're in New York?
Yeah, upstate New York. So.
Okay. So that's about the only season you can get there is April through.
Yeah.
April through probably October.
We were 75 and sunny today. Same thing tomorrow, but we got.
You take that all day, man. Take that
absolutely, absolutely.
We're begging for that down here. We're still in the 90s.
Oh man, we're
can we
begging
just get
for
the
that.
fall, please? Can we just get some fall?
Yeah, it was extremely nice out there today. We got a couple, like, it looks pretty good next week too. So hopefully we get a couple more solid weeks out here.
Nice. Yeah, you've got to be well into the 100 rounds or 150 rounds or something. Then.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm really, like, when I was looking at it, I was like, damn, I've played a lot of golf this year.
That's sweet. Are you seeing the progression of the game? Like if you can go out there every day? No, of course
not. Not one bit. All I do is turn myself into, I'll try to do something different, and then I'll get a bad habit, and then I'll just get really good at that bad habit.
That's exactly what I do, man. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. And now I'm taking the club away. It feels like a Furyk takeaway, and then I'm like mechanical, moving it back to the slot, and then once it's in the slot, I'm like, okay, that's it. But it's like, oh my god, to get it there sometimes it's just
it's to the point, like with my driver, especially, like I'm literally going back, like when I first started playing 5 or 7 years ago. My buddy Neil, I was a lefty baseball player. I golf righty, so like he would just tell me like the 3 things: keep your head down, your arm straight, and your foot still. And I'm going back to doing that, and like not even trying to like put any torque into
it or anything. Yeah.
And I still can't hit the damn thing straight. I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on right now? I'm snap hooking.
They say go back to the drawing board, but your drawing board's all fucked up. So.
Yeah, it's broken. It looked like Bobby Knight just threw it across the gym. It's terrible, man. It's like today I had a couple where I haven't had a slice. I've had a draw for about, or a hook for like 2 years now.
That's me.
And now, today I was slicing. I'm going, yo, I haven't done that in 4 years. Like, what? Even my buddy Dave was like, dude, it's been a long time since I seen you do that. I go, I don't even know how I did it. I couldn't.
And you're like, bro, I don't know how to play golf like this. Like, I don't even know where my line is to start if I'm hitting this other shot.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That possible 2-way miss will kill you in this game.
Yeah, so I'm like, I got to go back to the drawing. I'm gonna actually try to get lessons this winter at the simulators, and just to get the swing down, just to get consistent swing plane down, and really try to figure it out.
Right. And for me, it's kind of a blessing and a curse to do that because I feel more mechanical as I get lessons. But then, I feel like I'm somewhat losing my touch. And that's one of the reasons I picked the putter, because like no matter what I do with my swing, I always feel like the putter has been almost the same feel in my hand since I got this particular one probably 6-7 years ago. But just that, the Odyssey putter, eye or whatever it is. But I love the way it sits on the ground, and I love the way it rolls the ball. And like I said, it's a game ender a lot of times because it's like no matter what situation you can be in, especially in Texas, we use that club off the green a lot. is the
Mm-hmm.
Texas wedge, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're some serious highlights coming in from 20, 30 yards away sometimes.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Once you get a putter, you feel like good about it. You're sticking with that putter no
Right,
matter what.
right. And then it forces me to, now I can have a little bit more allowance around the greens, right? I don't have to hit every green. I can kind of go after a flag and let it roll off the back or something, and then I'm comfortable using the putter from there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's been a good friend
Yep.
so
Same.
far. So far, you can always be bad.
Oh yeah. And then my other question is, what's your favorite course you've ever played?
Favorite course I've ever played. I actually haven't got out too much in the courses. I really like Water Chase out here in Texas. It's right here in Arlington. It's one that they do the Monday qualifier for. So if I'm really dialed in on my game, I feel like to shoot sub 80 out there for me is about the epitome of where I could be. Like if I'm playing the 3 or 4 times in a couple weeks. That's the
Mm-hmm.
kind of course, the kind of technical course that I'm trying to go after to see if my game is quite there. But let's see, out in East Texas, I moved up to North Texas here to DFW from East Texas. I used to own a valet parking company out there, and we
Okay.
had a this is Tyler for those of you guys that know Texas. So
Yep. Yep.
just south of Tyler. But they got pine dunes out there in East Texas. It's a really beautiful course, and actually, my house out there was on Emerald Bay, and on the golf course of Emerald Bay, which is a members owned course, and it's absolutely stunning as well, always well taken care of. So yeah, between those few, I don't get out too much. Of course, that's supposed to be the next step for me as the owner of Tas-Tees is to kind of get outside the
Yeah.
Texas
Yeah.
and start playing some of these named courses. So ask me that in a couple years, and I'll probably have a couple, Chambers Bay or something like that to
There
add
you
to.
go.
None of those caliber just yet.
Did you ever play any Horseshoe Bay?
I haven't played Horseshoe Bay, and that's something we actually had a guys trip there for 2020 and got COVID canceled, and
Oh,
never able to get all 6 of us back together or 7 of us back together there. But it's still on the agenda for sure.
so
It's
I played.
awesome.
That's the one I played down there. It was Slick Rock at Horseshoe Bay.
Hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful course. Absolutely beautiful.
That is it. Blue Jack too in Houston, that Tiger Woods design course. That's supposed to be really nice too. That's supposed to be a good one.
Yeah, this Slick Rock place, man. This was and it was really cool too. It had like a little mini golf course right around
Uh-huh.
the resort.
Right.
So we would go out to the bar at night and then we'd start mini golfing until
Mini
2 in
golf.
the
That's all.
morning.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was a really cool little
That's the
setup.
difficult part for me is I can get several guys together, but even to get out of Texas, with those kind of places in Texas, it's kind of difficult to
I
to
wouldn't leave.
put it's well there's definitely stuff worth leaving for,
Yeah, sure.
but it's tough. It's always bang for your buck. Some of these courts, like the Bandon Dunes of the world, know that every golfer is trying to get to them, and they're charging all the money for it. But even a
Yeah.
PGA Frisco is a really popular one. Those, I say good kids, but those guys, they've really made that course even more popular than locally here. Just but with a lot of stuff that they do, they've got a pitch and putt kind of lit up over there, so a lot of content can be shot even at nighttime, which is really
Yeah.
cool. That
That's
was something
awesome.
that we experienced in the desert out there at the Desert Classic. Was I think it was 12 holes out there, but under the lights and at nighttime. I think that's something that PGA would never do just because of the competition side of it. And
Right.
I really like that experience. It's really cool to be able to, especially for that. I was at the Waste Management earlier that day, seeing Fat Perez at the Waste Management, and then turn around and see Good at this event that they had later on. But yeah, it's pretty
That's
cool.
cool.
Pretty neat how the content world's kind of pivoting right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, it really
The golf
is.
world's kind of pivoting from the PGA Tour to some of these other nuances, and I'm all for it, man. Tas-Tees all for it. It's great.
Yep, it's awesome. And then last question to wrap it up. If
Sure.
you could your dream foursome, three people
Ooh.
you would add to it. Who are the three people you would add to it?
Oh man, for me, I'd have to go with John Daly. We'd have to put John out there. I think I'd have to take Pops. Have to take my dad that introduced me to the game, and
Yeah.
then my dad's favorite golfer, and still to this day the man that can do absolutely no wrong, Mr. Freddie Couples.
Okay.
I don't know if Freddie and John would get along enough for 18 holes, but we'd get them drunk enough to do that.
The entertainment value of that would be
Exactly.
fun.
Maybe that's the other side of it, right? We'd make them share a card or something.
Yeah, sit back and watch. That's
Sit back
awesome.
and watch. That's right. That's right.
That's awesome. But Jason, man, I really appreciate your time.
I
Why don't you
appreciate it.
let the listeners know where they can find you?
Oh yeah, Tasty. Tasty is TAS-TEE.com. So tasty.com. You can come visit us. We're always running specials. We're always got new flavors popping. And tasty.com, we've got flavor down to a T.
That's awesome. Make sure you guys go and check them out. Next time I'm down in the, I got a couple of good buddies of mine down there in the Fort Worth area, and so next time I'm down in Texas, I'll
And
definitely hit you up.
I would be extremely disappointed if you don't hit me up when you're down in Texas, man.
Yeah, man, we'll get around to golfing for sure.
Definitely hit me up, dude. I don't have many hookups, but tasty flavored golf tees. We got several. We've been rubbing elbows with the right people here in North Texas.
Nice, man. Yeah, well, next time I'm down there, I'll definitely get in contact.
Awesome.
It was
Nice talking
great.
to you.
You too, man, and appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Later.
Awesome.